whole idea of investing is itself a little bit crazy, a little bit risky, and of course that means that you've got a lot of considerations to bear in mind when doing it. We're going to be talking today about some of the craziest stuff we can think of. That's why, of course, I've got Randy Kirk here joining me, the craziest person I know who does investing and is not currently locked up in an institution. We're going to go over his current bear, base, and bull thesis and look at that out into the future. We're going to talk about things like what it would take to make him sell and lose all confidence. And we're going to have him rank some of the emerging energy sectors within the company, especially as they compare to the existing ones. And who knows, we might even get into some stuff beyond that. This is going to be a two-parter. Randy is not for everyone. Some people think he's a madman. But if you want to have the most rounded perspective, you sometimes got to listen to people you disagree with. And if that's Randy, well, you're in the right place. And if you like him, you're definitely in the right place. I'm Brian. Welcome to Futurasa.
After all of that setup, I just want to know, can I have Grok handy? So that I can, answer some of those issues. Anyway, all right.
So that you can look a little sharper than you would otherwise. Computer assisted Randy on deck. We've got the whole package here. So the first thing I'd want to say is Randy is not only a serial entrepreneur and a fairly successful investor, but he is a best-selling author. Tell me about your book.
Oh, yes, we have a new book. It's called AI Rising. It is probably the second best book that I've ever. I know I shouldn't say that, but when Friday Isn't Payday was just crazy successful and people love that book backwards. But this AI Rising book is like so of the moment, and I got 9 authors to assist me because that's going to help too, and they're all such amazing authors that you know and love here in the Tesla sphere. It's up to date, ready to go, teach you everything you need to know about the stack, the AI stack, as well as what the future is going to look like in your home, on your job, in your company, if you own one, and in the world at large, where we have an age of abundance.
That would have been a good name for the channel. What the future. I love it. So what are your current bear, base, and bull thesis for Tesla?
Oh, no. Well, you see, that's the problem. Anybody that knows anything about Randy Kirk knows I don't have a bear and a base thesis. I have only bull thesis.
Let's hear it.
From time to time, I have done when I've done some spreadsheet analysis, which I've done. I've shown some range. Okay, but when it comes to stock price, generally speaking, I have my thesis, and my thesis was just changed last week. So your timing is perfect. I was at 750 by the end of the year, and people were starting to go, Randy.
It is the end of the year.
And I said, well, look at Tom Lee. Look at what number he has for Ethereum by the end of the year, and you'll think that maybe I'm not as delirious as I look. So I have moved my number back to 600 by the end of the year, and it could slip into the first month of next year. But it's based on the fact that we will have 1,500 driverless vehicles, no safety rider, no nothing, in Austin and Northern California, either by the end of the year or by the end of January. When we get to that 1,500 number or so, give or take, doesn't really matter exactly what the number is, but that's kind of my goal, and was stated goal by Elon. Can I take a side thing?
Oh, sure.
Everything that I ever do in terms of analysis is always based almost 100% on things that Elon has said.
He says a lot of things.
He says a lot of things, but okay, Elon, if you say you're going to have 1,500 cars on the road by the end of the year without safety riders, I'm going to base my thesis on that. Okay. And because I don't have anything better, he's in the factory, he's in the lab, he's talking to the people about what's happening in Austin on a daily basis in terms of accidents or not accidents, or what the guys are pushing the little button and what the results are. He's got way more information than anybody else in the world about what's going to happen at Tesla. So all of my theories are always based on him. Now, having said that, I'm at 600. There you go. That's it.
I would argue that you do have access to better information, which is adjusting his information. When you look at certain sales figures, you would sometimes need to apply a seasonal adjustment. And I think adding an adjustment for Elon time is necessary because, as you know, I don't know if I told you this, but the reason his timelines are so bad is because you'll say, well, when will FSD be solved? And you say it is. And you go, really? When? And he goes, in the future. See, he's a time traveler. He doesn't know when now is. He forgets. So that's just what happens. It's like, well, if it's then it's also, is it not? So I think that's the problem when it comes to some of the factory construction estimates that I've done. I would add time for it not being in China. Just add the time. If I use the China numbers, it's going to be wrong so that I would argue that is a way to do it. Big question for you, Randy. What would make you sell? And I don't mean like financial necessity comes up, you have to. I mean, what would make you say, well, maybe I'm going to invest in something else?
Well, one possibility would always be that something comes along. I'm always on the lookout, not necessarily for an investment, but I love product and I love companies and I love everything about, capitalism and how it works. And so, in fact, I think I finally took the bottle down, but there was a bottled water thing that came out a few years ago in very colorful bottles, pink bottles and blue bottles. It was like one of these infused fruit, things. And my wife was all interested in it. We bought some, and I went, I've got to look this up and see if this company's, is this a listed company or not. So I'm always kind of aware of that kind of stuff. So I would say it would be more of a positive thing that comes to mind, that something comes along that I just go, oh my gosh, I got to be in that. On the negative side, it would take a lot, Brian. Elon leaving, that would certainly be a big one. Elon leaving for various reasons, going back to his home planet, getting sick. I mean, that could happen. It happened to Steve Jobs. Stepping aside, okay, I'm still here. I still own the stock, but I'm hiring a president and a CEO, and I'm kind of spend more of my time on this other thing. So any of those things, I can't. It's hard for me to imagine, as long as Elon's running it and hasn't lost his mind, that I would ever be out of it.
What if they started paying dividends?
There's a point at which there's no choice. You're either going to buy back stock or you're going to pay dividends at a point. Now, is that 100 billion in the bank? Is that 200 billion in the bank? I don't know. Larry Goldberg thinks it's certainly not now. Other people, Gary Black, who doesn't own any stock, thinks, wow, they should buy back stock now. So, there's a number out there where they definitely, we're in a funny, crazy world right now. I mean, that's one of the reasons we wrote the book AI Rising, is because there's never been anything like this or remotely like this in history. When you've got 7 companies that are worth $1 trillion or more, that are 50% of the stock market, are 50% of the S&P. And they've got hundreds of billions of dollars in the bank. It's just these kinds of the enormous amounts of money. Well, what do you spend it on? What can you even buy? You can buy countries.
Well, we're getting to the point where you and I can see what they will spend this pile of cash on. They will spend it on Robotaxi deployment. They will spend it on building energy factories. They'll spend it on building an Optimus fleet. The upfront cost of hundreds of thousands of robots could chew through the existing cash pile. But when you get to like Apple cash, they've got an amount that defies understanding, and I have no earthly idea what they would do with it. But
nor do they, which is
why it's piling up so much. Looking at the emerging sectors, energy, bots, FSD separate from Robotaxi. What order would you put those in terms of their value to the company. Energy bots, FSD, Robotaxi.
but not Optimus.
Bots. Energy,
Oh, oh,
bots.
oh,
So Energy,
okay.
Optimus, FSD, Robotaxi. Which one
All
is
right.
number one
Oh,
in your view?
well, number one is easy. So that's Optimus. Elon has said 80% of the company will, the earnings will eventually be Optimus. I believe that's maybe even a low estimate in terms of the percent. So Optimus is number one. Robotaxi would be number two. Again, whether you're talking Kathy Wood, whether you're talking Elon Musk, they've both said that portion of the company alone is probably going to be worth, on the order of 7 trillion. So we're talking about, the biggest company ever in the entire world. I have and then it's up in the air between. It's not FSD next, but it's up in the air between semi trucks and energy.
Mm.
Semi trucks is based on one of the few times that I'm saying, "Hey, Elon, where's the next factory going to be?" But it's also energy. Where's the next factory going to be? So both of them have unlimited, not unlimited TAMs, but TAMs that would take a long time to reach, because once you have electric autonomous trucks out there, all those other trucks are garbage. I mean, they're really, really garbage. It'd be like trying to run a bottle factory where the cost of my bottles were twice what the cost of somebody else's bottles were. I'd be out of business in a week. And so the demand for autonomous electric trucks is going to be off the charts. So 50,000 a year is pretty much a drop in the bucket compared to the 500,000 a year that are needed worldwide. I think that's the right number. I think it's higher, but we can start there. Same thing with energy. We've talked to expert after expert after expert. I think you've talked to some of them, where the TAM on the energy storage thing is, we haven't even begun. Uh, the amount of energy storage that would be needed just to take advantage of getting the grid optimized, basically double the capacity that it is now for actual use as opposed to production, using batteries to do that. I mean, I don't know how many batteries it would take just to do the U.S. grid.
Hmm. That's the thing with energy. So I will push back and say energy is going to be vastly bigger than semi, because semi has room to expand beyond the current semi footprint. It can chew into rail freight a bit, but a lot of rail is already optimized for what it does. It does it very well. But with energy, if you would have asked me to assess the total addressable market 5 years ago, I would have been wrong, because it wouldn't have included all these other uses that have since sprung up to make sense. And as the price continues to come down, the number of applications increases significantly. At some point, they will be cheap enough that the kind of backup power systems you see at like hospitals, those are fairly cheap because they use lead acid. The ongoing maintenance cost is outrageous, but they don't always look at that. At some point, just dropping a megapack outside will be cheaper, and then they can arbitrage to the grid all day with just say 10% of the capacity. That would be some money, perhaps even enough to pay for itself over a long enough time horizon, making it even cheaper still. I think energy much bigger, and energy is only getting, we know where the next factory is. We know that Lathrop is fully ramped. We know that Shanghai is probably fully ramped. And we know that the Houston facility is almost complete, if not complete. It'll begin deployments next year. So there's room to grow on that. And I expect to see another Megapack factory announced within the next year, if
I
not
did,
two.
I did some spreadsheets on this years ago. Years ago, maybe it was a year ago. I had both of them topping out around 400 billion in sales. And so that's why I'm giving you my kind of close race thing.
I
Again,
see.
we don't know whether Tesla will open a second factory in the U.S. or open another factory in Europe, or use the space in Berlin to open a factory for the Tesla, for a large vehicle,
Hmm.
large truck. Whether China, the biggest market in the world for large trucks, that would be another place where I would expect them to open a factory. But to your point, it's a hard guess because we have, yeah, you're right, we have this plan for the three factories, but I'm thinking 20 factories, not three for energy storage. So when is the next announcement? I'm waiting. I'm waiting.
On energy, Wall Street has started modeling it, but if we were to look at these segments separately, semi-energy bots, FSD, Robotaxi, because FSD is a separate product from Robotaxi in terms of how the revenue is attained. So my question is, which of those segments has the highest multiple that you would assign to it? It's got to be bots for you, right?
Yeah, long term, not necessarily. The problem with FSD, which FSD obviously would have a huge margin, like almost unlimited. I mean, like almost 100%. So you love that. FSD's problem is that believe that by the end of 2028, we won't be buying cars anymore. I'm sorry, companies won't be selling cars to individuals anymore. They'll either be selling them to fleets, or and a fleet could be one car that I'm putting out for rent. 2028, 2029. Anyway, so FSD might be a part of that package and you can try to divide it out, but I see that as more fleet income as opposed to FSD income. But as far as the individual consumer buying a car and driving it around and paying for FSD, I think that goes away over time.
All interesting. I am not of the camp that says personal ownership is going to diminish that quickly. I ask you these questions because you're like a Swiss timepiece, more like a Bavarian clock, a little bit cuckoo. That's all right. Once an hour is fine. If you had 10 million today, if you just found 10 million, you forgot you had it, was in an old account, how would you divide where you would invest it?
So, as Elon likes to say, simplicity is a good thing, you know. So probably the vast majority would be in Tesla. I don't know what the number is, but a vast majority. But then after that, it would be what I would call totally fun money. I mean, we fun money
Mm-hmm.
anyway. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
10 million. It's just fun money. So if you have 10 million, then I would probably invest a little bit in some of the ARC K, ARC G, etc. More than I have now. I have a little bit in ARC K. I would look at again emerging products, but I might want to have a little piece of Palantir, a little piece of NVIDIA. And I haven't invested in NVIDIA and Palantir in the past because I didn't fully understand them. And I like to have a intellectual arbitrage advantage. And I understand Tesla maybe as well as anybody out there. And I understand Elon maybe better after, two books on the subject. So I feel like I have an information arbitrage advantage, and I definitely don't have that with NVIDIA or with Palantir, but they would be on my list to maybe get that advantage.
It's hilarious to me, Randy, because I hold very few stocks, 95% Tesla, but in my other 5% is ARK K, Palantir, NVIDIA, and Costco.
So that's a good one.
Yeah. So that's the rest of my portfolio. I suspect we might hang out in the same circles a little bit. Guys, there's going to be a part 2 with this. We're going to be talking about Randy's updated price targets, why they've changed, how they've changed. We're going to be talking about comparing the actual dollars of the revenue division and some of Elon's craziest statements about energy, and looking at the single biggest catalysts over the next 12 to 18 months. I hope you come back for that. That's probably going to happen tomorrow, unless you're me and Randy, in which case it's going to happen right after this, because that's how we do it. You guys, what did we miss? What do we misunderstand? Leave it in the comments below. You know how crazy we get. We love the comments. They feed us. They feed us, so please do that. Everybody else, like, subscribe, do what you do. Stay tuned, stay juicy, and I cannot wait to hear from you clever robots tomorrow for the thrilling conclusion.